What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we are beginning our dive into some homebrew. Well, I guess we've already covered some homebrew when we talked about the Blood Hunter, but we are looking at some more of Matt Mercer's custom subclasses here in 5th edition. So if you are excited to see what there is out there in the realm of homebrew, go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be covering a lot of subclasses here in the homebrew territory, and then we're going to get back to some official ones and then mix in some homebrew. It's going to be really exciting. So as you can see, most people who watch this channel are not subscribed, so they, along with if you are too, you're going to miss when those new episodes come up. So make sure that you are. It really helps the channel out. We're hoping to get to 2,000 by the end of this year, and I really think that we can with your help, of course. And then click the bell and, of course, share the video with your friends. So today we're covering the Juggernaut Barbarian, and this is the big boy, right? This is meant to knock everything down. You are meant to just go plowing through your enemies. You know, when you see the idea of a rhino running through the middle of a battlefield and just throwing enemies off to the left and right. I mean, that's what I see with this, right? And I think it's really flavorful. I think it's really fun. And I think that there's something that's not in D&D currently, and so this is a really, really cool way to do it. Is it really good mechanically? Let's find out today. So at 3rd level, we get 2 features, and the first is Thunderous Blows. What this does is it allows us to actually shove creatures when we hit them with a melee attack. So if they are large or smaller, then we can just push them 5 feet away, which is cool. And if they are huge or larger, then they have to make a strength saving throw based on our strength modifier. And this, of course, goes up to a 10-foot push once you are 10th level in Barbarian. This is really cool, right? You know, it's really interesting that just last week we did a build called the Stay Away From Me and My Son, the Blood Hunter build. That'll be up in the iCard above for you right there, where we focused on pushing enemies away and how this can be very useful. This just kind of doubles down on that as well, how large or smaller can be pushed without a saving throw. This is really nice, right? Especially if you have a weapon that does not have reach. This can allow you to hit that creature, push them out of your range, and then run without having to take an attack of opportunity, which is really good. It also can help if if one of your friends is within melee and they can't get out. This can help you to let them get out of opportunity range. There's a lot of really, really good things about moving your opponent forcefully, right? There are so many good things about moving your opponent. I think this is a fantastic feature. I think it's really strong to get here at level 3. 5 feet doesn't sound like much, but honestly, it can make a pretty big difference. Overall, this is a 9 out of 10 feature. I think it's pretty fantastic, and any barbarian would love to have this. Also at level 3, you get Spirit of the Mountain, and so while you're raging, you cannot be knocked prone or moved along the ground against your will. This is pretty cool, right? Being able to always stay standing, even if you would be knocked prone, just because, you know, you're too angry to fall down. I think that's really flavorful. I think it's really cool. How useful is it mechanically? I think it's somewhat useful. I don't think it's useless. I think it will be more situational than you think, but for the few times that it does come up, I think it will be nice. Overall, I think this is a 7 out of 10. It's not game breaking, but it's not bad either, and it definitely will come up a time or two in a campaign. At level 6, we get Demolishing Might, and so we now do double damage to structures and objects, and we also deal a 1d8 extra damage to constructs. So the 1d8 extra damage is a little situational, right? Whenever you are fighting a bunch of constructs, you're going to feel fantastic. The rest of the time, this feature is going to be completely null and void, right? However, dealing extra damage to objects and structures is interesting, right? Because we are now a one-man wrecking crew. We are here to knock down a door. We are here to blow up all this person's stuff. Like we deal extra damage to just stuff and structures. We knock buildings down with our shoulder. That can be useful. Again, somewhat situational, but I mean, you know, you're probably somebody who dumped intelligence. So what do you care about a concussion running through a wall? I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I don't think it's game breaking. I think that there are a lot of other features that barbarians get at 6th level that are more useful than this. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 just because it is a little situational. It'll feel cool when you do it, but it's just a little situational in my opinion. At level 6, we also get Resolute Stance, and so this allows you to enter a defensive position and to make yourself a little bit harder to hit with a drawback. So what this does is it allows you to actually assume this defensive position where you are really focusing on what is at hand. When you are in this position, and it is no action required to do this, by the way, you cannot be grappled, your attack rolls have disadvantage, but attack rolls against you also have disadvantage. So there are a few situations where I can see this being somewhat useful. Number one, you're going against a creature that really likes to grapple you, right? So think of like a roper, for instance. These things like to grapple people, right? If you're going up against that, it just straight up can't grapple you, which is pretty fantastic, right? You're just immune. You can then also reckless, and you are negating the negative part of the Resolute Stance, and you just straight up can't be grappled. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that's interesting about this is that you don't necessarily have to be raging in order to use this. You can use this anytime that you want. So, you know, you're already not going to be knocked prone while you're raging. So we're not really worrying about that, about negating that disadvantage. So the more that I think about this, it might end up being a little bit more situational, but if you end up putting yourself in a position where you're maybe a little bit farther away from an enemy than you want to be, you can't quite close that distance, but you want to use your action for something else, then this might be something worth using. I don't think that this is going to be something that you're going to spam by any means, because we don't want to roll at disadvantage, and if you're going to just use reckless attack to negate it, then there's no point unless you're specifically trying to get out of grapples. Overall, this is a 6 out of 10 feature for me. There are situations where it's useful, don't get me wrong, but I also don't think that this is going to be something that you're going to spam by any means. At level 10, we get Hurricane Strike, and what this does is it allows us to close the distance whenever we push an enemy away from us. So this doesn't necessarily have to be tied to our Thunderous Blows ability, but 99% of the time it's going to be. So as a reaction, whenever we hit a creature and push them 5 feet away from us at least, we can force them to make a strength saving throw when we leap into a space within 5 feet of where they landed. If they fail, then they are knocked prone, which is fantastic. Then, in addition to that, if there is an ally of yours within 5 feet of where you pushed them, they can then make an attack. Of course, this will be at advantage if they land prone. This is cool, right? This is a very complicated ability, but it is really, really neat. Being able to close that distance without taking an opportunity attack, again, can be a really nice get out of jail free card. If you are surrounded, this can be a really great way out of it. And it's just awesome, right? I think this is an absolutely fantastic ability. Being able to just knock them prone now. And I mean, it's a pretty reliable saving throw, right? I mean, it's based on your strength. So, I mean, you're going to be doing pretty well as far as having a high DC. They're probably going to have an average strength. You know, strength isn't the best saving throw. It's not the worst on enemies. So, I mean, it'll probably balance out. Overall, I think this is an 8 out of 10 feature. I don't think it's bad at all. I do think you'll use this like all the time. It's very spammable. So I think that you'll get a lot of use out of this. At level 14, we get Unstoppable, and man, this lives up to its name. When we're raging, our speed cannot be reduced, and we are immune to the frightened, paralyzed, prone, and stunned conditions. We also can use a bonus action, even if the condition would normally keep us from doing this. You can enter your rage to end that condition. I don't think there's a whole lot to discuss about this ability because, oh my goodness, frightened, paralyzed, prone, and stunned are all really, really crazy ones that can be really bad, especially paralyzed and stunned. Paralyzed is one of the worst that are out there. Paralyzed is one of the worst conditions that's out there, and as you get to these higher level creatures, you're gonna start seeing these really debilitating status conditions start to come through a lot more. Paralysis is probably gonna come quite a bit, you know, frightened is gonna come quite a bit. you're gonna see this stuff a lot. And so being able to just be immune to it while you're using your main feature is fantastic. This is a 10 out of 10 feature. I don't see how this could be any better. This is an amazing feature overall. So where do we land on the Juggernaut Barbarian? This thing's cool, right? It's very neat being able to move things around on the battlefield at your whim, being able to just knock everything over, just being the epitome of strength, right? This is the ultimate strong guy. Of course, this is based on Juggernaut from the comic books. If you've seen Deadpool or anything like that, then you'll know. It's kind of based on that. It's just cool. It's just flavorful. It's a ton of fun. Is it the most powerful barbarian out there? No, I don't think so. There is basically nothing for outside of combat with this, number one. It's all combat, which, yes, it's a barbarian, so they're based on combat. I get that. But, you know, it's nice to have a well-rounded character. So that's a point or two off, you know. And overall, there's no healing ability. There's no, like, really helping your friends out outside of Hurricane Strike slightly. Everything else is very selfish. So that's also a little rough. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10, though. I think it's very solid. I think it's got a lot of really great things in it. A lot of really cool reasons to play this. Being able to just move people around, being able to not be knocked prone, and eventually being immune to some of the worst status conditions in the game. Yeah, sign me up. It's fantastic. So that is our ranking for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Later this week, we're going to be building one together, and I hope you all are looking forward to that. Until next time, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.